Welcome you all to for today's webinar on again on DOAJ, but it will be more deep into that how to make your DOAJ as a starting point for finding quality peer-reviewed journals. It will be delivered by our proud ambassador of DOAJ, Miss Leena Shah. Leena was earlier at Singapore working as a librarian in a university of. I think she'll be saying about more about her before the presentation. Leena, over to you.
Okay, so thank you, Sridhar. I hope you can see the slide on the screen. So
Yes.
thank you to Sridhar and Open Access India for inviting me to present for the Open Access webinar series. My name is Leena, and as Sridhar mentioned, I'm one of the DOJ ambassadors for India. So earlier to this, I was working at Nanyang Technological University in Singapore. I was an earth science librarian over there. So today for the presentation, my topic is about publishing in open access. So where do you publish? Make DOAJ your starting point for finding quality peer-reviewed open access journals. So earlier in the series, you might have heard Ms. Devika's presentation about the basics of open access. So we are all aware that the goal of open access is to make the content of all scholarly articles freely available online. So to understand open access, we have to know that there are two components to open access. The first component is where the copyright owner provides consent in advance to let users copy, use, distribute, etc. So what this does is it removes the access barrier and the price barrier. So when you publish your work online in an open access journal, it is online, so it is available to anybody in the world with internet access. And it's available for free. So you have removed the access as well as the price barrier. Now coming to the second component. So this is the component where sometimes we have difficulty understanding this. The second component says the copyright owner must make and distribute derivative works in any digital medium for responsible purpose with proper attribution. So what does this mean? It is not just enough to put your work online and to provide it free. You also need to let your users know how they can use your content, what they can and what they cannot do with the content that you have put in. So how do you do this? How do you achieve this? This is achieved by putting a license attached to your work. So the copyright owner, which could be the author or in some cases the journal publisher, attaches a license to the work, which tells the user what they can or cannot do with the work. And this, in effect, removes the permission barrier. So this is a general understanding of what open access is. So once we are clear about open access, your next question is probably, how do you take part in open access? As a researcher, as a PhD student, or how do you take part in open access? How do you go about doing this? So in scholarly terms, there are two routes that you can take. One is the green route. So what is this green route? So the green route, you go as per normal. The first step is to submit your paper to a journal. This could be a subscription journal. The second step, once your paper is accepted into the journal, you submit the final peer-reviewed copy to an open repository. This could be your institutional repository or another subject-based repository. Now, what is this final peer-reviewed copy? It is also known as the accepted version. It is the final copy that you have after your exchange with the journal publisher. Now, before you submit to the institutional repository, you need to check the self-archiving policy of the journal. If you're not sure of this, you should always check with the librarian at your institution. Now, once you have submitted this into the repository, Google can pick up the metadata of your article. Google has software that allows it to do so, since your repository is an open repository. And once that is done, once your article is indexed in Google, your article can be found by anybody using Google. So in a sense, your paper is open access. So this is the green route. Now, the other route, is the gold route. So what is the gold route? In the gold route, you identify a reputable open access journal. Once you have identified a journal that is relevant to you, you send your paper for peer review. And once the paper is accepted, you pay an article processing charge to the publisher. This may or may not be, the range of charges could be from $0 to maybe $4,000. So once this is paid, your paper is published in the open access journal. And since this is an open access journal, it is available to anybody with internet access. So these are the two routes that you follow. The challenges with green route is that sometimes researchers do not have the final peer-reviewed version, or they don't know where to submit it, or maybe they're just not bothered about submitting it. Their paper is already published in a subscription journal, and they are too busy sometimes to submit it again in an institutional repository. So those are the challenges of taking the green route. For the gold route, of course, it is the identifying the reputable open access journal and the APC. How do you pay the APC? So these are some of the challenges with the two different routes that you may take. Now we mentioned that if you're taking the gold route, your first step is to find a reputable open access journal. So when you do this, you may have some ideas or some concerns in your mind on how to find a good open access journal to publish your paper in. So some of your concerns may be, firstly, of course, finding an open access journal that is specific to your subject, or you may want to publish in an open access journal that is specific to a certain country. Or, of course, you may want it to be peer reviewed in an open access journal, or you may be looking for an open access journal that provides a certain license so that you can modify the work and things like that. Or the most important of all, you may be looking for a good open access journal that does not charge APC. So the answer to all this is the Directory of Open Access Journals, also known as DOAJ. You can consider this as a discovery tool for open access journals. There's an index of or a listing of reputable open access journals. Now, Roshali has given an excellent presentation earlier in this series, which highlights the history and the background of DOAJ. So do listen to that if you're interested to find out more about DOAJ. Today, we will look at what DOAJ can offer you as a researcher or a student. It offers you an index of quality peer-reviewed open access journals across different disciplines. There's a web-based search where you can browse by discipline. There are over 9,000 journals indexed in it from 130 countries, and there are 2 million articles, and you have access to full text of these 2 million articles. So that is what it offers. So let's look at how you can start using DOAJ to find reputable open access journals. So I will do a live demo. So this is the DOAJ.org. If you have a computer next to you, do go ahead and explore the website at the same time. So when you have typed in DOAJ.org, I hope everybody can see the screen. You look at the search. When you click on the search or browse DOAJ, let's say you can search by title, keywords, subject, and so on. So today, for the purpose of the demo, I will search for, let's say, computer science. So there are over 64,000 articles on this topic, and there are 200 over journals that are on this topic. Now, when I click on journals, you will see that there are different facets on the left side. So I can further look for journals, open access journals on computer science that do not charge APC. So there are 48 journals on computer science that do not charge APC. So I can go ahead and explore these 48 journals and find something that's relevant to me and publish my article in this. So you can further look at these facets on the left. You may be interested in a particular publisher or a particular license or a particular language or a country. So this is a discovery tool to find open access journals. Now let's look at some of the other features. There is a share and an embed tool on the top. I'm going to click on that. So this offers a share the link to this search. So your search results, you can share a link to these search results anywhere. It could be a PDF, it could be a website, it could be a presentation. You can put this link anywhere and users do not need to come to DOAJ. They can just use this particular link to look at the search results that you're highlighting. Similarly, you can even embed this search in your web page. So the code is right here. Apart from that, there is a browse subjects. So DOAJ categorizes the journals and articles using the Library of Congress classification. So you can click on any of them and go further from here and find open access journals relevant to this topic. Apart from that, you might have seen that some of the journals have a green tick next to it. There is a green tick over here. So what does that mean? And you may also see something like this. There's an orange circle over here which says the DOAJ seal. So what is this green tick next to the journal? And what is this DOAJ seal that you see over here? So let me go back to the presentation to explain this. So the green tick. So the green tick is displayed against all journals that are accepted after March 2014. During this time, DOAJ launched new criteria to make it, this were more stricter criteria for journals to be accepted into DOAJ. So all the journals that are accepted after this period have a green tick next to them. So this does not mean that the journals without the green tick are not good or something like that. Those are reputable open access journals too, but these were accepted after the new criteria was launched by DOAJ. Now, coming to the orange circle, the DOAJ seal. So this is a mark of certification for open access journals that have achieved a higher level of openness. There are 7 conditions that must be satisfied in order for a journal to achieve this DOAJ seal. So the 7 conditions are listed here on the screen. Using a permanent identifier such as DOI, providing DOAJ with metadata, having a license, embedding machine readable CC license, and so on. So if a journal satisfies these 7 criteria, then they get the DOAJ seal of approval. So this is the browse subjects that I showed earlier. Now I would also like to highlight the DOAJ FAQ. I find the FAQ to be very effective. When you first look at DOAJ, you may have many questions about it. How does it get funded? Who are the members of DOAJ? Many things like how do I sign up for news alerts? And there may be many questions. I think the FAQ provides answers to all of them. These are updated continuously by the people who work at DOAJ. So do take a look at FAQ whenever you have the time. Apart from that, there is also a link for publishers. There's information for publishers highlighting the publishing best practice. Publishers, if you're a journal publisher and you wish for your journal to be indexed in DOAJ, there is a link there called Apply, which takes you to the journal application form where you can fill in the fields there and apply for your journal to be indexed in DOAJ. Now, what is the criteria for indexing? When I was talking about journals being indexed by DOAJ, at the back of your mind, you may be thinking, so who decides whether the journal is going to be in DOAJ or not? What is the criteria? How does DOAJ come up with that criteria? Well, the criteria is not just plucked out of the air. The criteria is based on publishing best practices, which are based on OSPA's Code of Conduct, and the Principles of Transparency and Best Practices in Scholarly Publishing. Both these links are hyperlinks. You can take a look at it in detail when you have time. So I will continue. What these principles of transparency and best practices translate into is some basic requirements for entry into DOAJ. So this is quite a lengthy slide. Some of the basic requirement for a journal to be indexed in DOAJ goes like this. They should have an open access policy, which should be clearly stated on journal website. They must have at least one ISSN, which is registered at issn.org. The full text of all the content must be available for free and open access. There should be no embargo. A journal must have its own dedicated website. You cannot have other services and products present under that URL. It must have clear navigation links. They should have links to licensing terms, plagiarism policy, instruction for authors, and so on. So these are the general criteria, the basic requirements for entry into DOAJ. So why have I highlighted this? The reason for me to put this up on the slide is this is the reason why DOAJ should be your starting point when you're looking for reputable open access journals, because there are editors at DOAJ who use this criteria to evaluate open access journals before they can be indexed in DOAJ. So make DOAJ as a starting point when you're looking for open access journals. So much for DOAJ as a discovery tool. Now, what happens if you cannot find a journal that suits your needs in DOAJ? What do you do? What if there is some other open access journal that is more relevant to your need? So how do you evaluate that particular open access journal? So make use of this tool. This tool is called Think, Check, Submit. There is a URL here that I've put here. It's the same, thinkchecksummit.org. Now what this gives you is a checklist. It gives you a series of questions. These questions, like I've just shown here, are something like, are the articles indexed in services that you use? Can you identify, contact the publisher? Who is on the editorial board? Is the affiliation of the editorial board mentioned? And so on. You can take a look at these questions. You can evaluate the particular journal that you're looking at using these questions. And if your answers are satisfactory, if you're able to answer these questions, then go ahead and publish your paper in these journals. There is an excellent video that is present at this website, which I'm not going to play now. You can watch it at your own time, but do go and watch that particular video. I think I have the link here. Okay, never mind. So do go ahead and watch the video that is there at this particular website, thinkchecksummit.org. Apart from that, there are also some popular open access resources available. This is a listing of some of them, not all of them. The first is the directories. So the directory of open access journals, open access repositories, books. There are disciplinary archives, ArcZiv, which is a very popular one. Then there's the bio for biology. There are publishers and distributors, Biomed Central, PLOS, PubMed Central, and so on. Do take a look at these. These are some other popular open access resources that you can use when you're looking for open access journals to publish your work. There's a reference. I've used this slide for my reference today. And yeah, this is not the end. With the theme of open in action, I would say let us continue discussing open access. Let us continue our discussion and asking questions. We still have a few steps to take before we reach our destination. So if you're watching a video, if you're watching a video of this particular presentation, and if you have questions on open access or DOAJ, please do email me. So with this, I think I will hand over the mic back to Sridhar.
Thank you, Leena, for a nice and in-depth presentation about the DOAJ, how to make it as a starting point for choosing the journals or getting the literature and then exporting or saving or embedding in different formats or for your next archiving procedures or things. There was a question earlier in the when the Vishali was presenting about Jasim was asking about can we export. I think this tool is there, like you can embed and then share that link. That is that we have not explored much. This can be used for sharing the among the collaborators. Okay, now if anybody is having the questions, they can unmute their mic and then pose the question or ask the question.
Thank you, Leena. It was nice presentation.
Thanks, Roshali.
Yeah, you covered always all aspects, and the last one, Sridhar, how you show this sharing option?
No, it which one? It's about the Lena's
Just now
presentation
you
or?
said you did from where?
No, I didn't do anything. There's Lena was presenting that there is a embedding. Lena, go to that.
Leena, can you show it again?
Yeah, sure. Uh, so when you're at the search, let's say you have finished searching, you've searched for something, then you can share a link to this search. There is a button here, share embed.
Okay.
Yeah,
Like
you
if you
can.
have, if we are collaborating on a research and you have done the like the abstracts were searched by you, and I don't need to do it. Like you can send me that link, short with using the short URL or anything. I can also go and browse those records.
Okay.
Rajendran, Devika, you have any question? Rajshekar,
I think Devanand left.
yes. Okay.
Hi all.
Hello,
This is
yes.
Rajshekar, and it's a great time. It's been with you, and we are actually in college. We do fests for websites, and we keep that entire material under CC license. So hope this is a best presentation. So
So, sorry, you're a librarian?
no, I'm a student.
You're a student, excellent. So, I think these tools are useful for you, right?
Yeah. So folks like me, Ranjit, here in Hyderabad, we work on this aspect.
Excellent. So, at any point in time, if you have questions, just email them to us.
Yeah, we're trying universities from HCU and JNTU talking to the librarians. So if there is a like building a chapter for open access journals like that, so maybe we can explore it with your help.
Okay, I can't hear it very clearly. Maybe you
Okay,
want.
so we are asking help in the universities like HCU and JNTU for these kind of chapters, like open access chapters in the college. So we are moving further for that. So if we find you can help us for that.
Yes, yes, Rajshekhar, we can have the community like the Linux group kind of things, which earlier were having for the computer scientists, but we can have the open access India regional fora or the institute groups like that. We have some ambassador program and we have a working group which we constituted. And when we have these kind of sessions, any of us or as a volunteers can like speak to the audience there using this Google Hangouts or Skype or any other web tools. We can have
Okay.
also have a workshop kind of thing. Leena is based at Bangalore. Me at now at Ranchi, and Brushali is another DOAJ ambassador. She's also part
So
of this Open Access India. We are all part of this Open Access India community as a global national community or the Indian specific community on working for open access. Anybody can volunteer, and then we
yeah,
can present anything
yeah.
to the audience.
As a student, I'm the person first who I just given my presentation on open science, open access to open science. I'm the
Okay,
first
great.
person in this entire university to give the presentation.
Oh, great, great. Okay, I think if no other further questions
Sridhar, just
on,
one suggestion.
yes,
When we are starting webinar, we'll do some introduction type of thing. So who are there, what they are doing, they are students, publishers, or teachers, or librarians. So at least we'll come to know who is attending the webinars.
yeah, I think this has to be this is a
Yeah.
well
So yeah, at
point.
the beginning only we'll give introduction. Everybody will give introduction, what they are, where they are working, what is their portfolio, and then we can start the session.
Yes, I think that in that will help the speaker to touch
Yeah,
about like
yeah,
what specifically for whom. Like when Rajshekhar
Okay.
said he's a student, and Leena,
yeah. That's right.
if Leena would have known about Rajshekhar
Yeah.
before, so
Yeah,
she
that's
would
why
have.
miss this when Rajshekhar tell that he's a student, so that's why we'll also come to know who is the audience, so that will be better.
Yes, yes,
So can I ask a quick question to Raj Shekhar if he's still online?
yes, he
Yeah,
is there.
yeah.
So, do you think within the student community, do they understand Creative Commons? Do they understand licensing? Yeah, I mean, as a copyright owner, do you understand? What is the understanding generally among students over here about this topic?
Okay. So when we started like keeping in a website content under commons license, some people ask like what is it, and when we explain them the exact concept of what is creative commons and how it can be shared among others, so they came to know, they really came to know how to use it and all this thing. So
Right.
it's not a problem, like if we explain in a better way they can understand it.
But the awareness is still building, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's still building.
It's still building. Okay, okay. Good to know. Thank you, Raj Shekhar.
Uh, I think before ending, I should announce for the next tomorrow's webinar. It will be delayed by 1 hour, 2 p.m. India time. We have a speaker, Vinod. He is a Max Planck researcher and is a ambassador for Max Planck Open Access ambassador program. He'll be speaking about the open access to the early career scientists. Rajshekhar, please do join tomorrow, and you can please share the invite to others who the researchers or the young scientists, Vishali, Devika, Rajendran, Leena. Thank you everybody to be here who attended this webinar, and Leena for the nice presentation, and everybody for the participating in a good discussion mode. I think see it is now being improved. Like the first
Yeah.
webinar we started, and then second was more again improved, and third and fourth. So we are now growing.
Yes.
Like it's a first thing which started first time we started. There will be some lacunas and other things, but everything is going nice now.